My 2014 Polaris Sportsman 400. So this thing has lived a rough life. We'll actually post a picture of when we first got it. It was in pretty bad condition. It had been bogged through some trails, mostly mud. Had the radiator relocated up on the front rack. Not really my kind of style. So I've mostly been working on getting it back to stock. Now I've replaced all the bushings, bearings, and brakes. However, it decided to blow a head gasket. So, searching online and trying to find a head gasket for it, I found out that Niche, whatever their name is, sells these little kits. And pretty much what I'm doing here is I'm converting this to a 500 instead of the stock 455cc displacement. I'm pretty sure that's what it is factory. So I've already replaced the cylinder, the piston, regapped the rings. I'm using the factory 400 head. Now the casting is apparently the same on both of them, along with the valves, camshaft, and all that. So it should work, at least according to the interwebs it will. And then I got a eBay special Magnum 500 carburetor on it. Not sure if it's going to work. And then currently what we are waiting on, not sure if you can see it or not, but the water jacket, whatever fitting you want to call it, water or coolant outlet, coolant inlet, whichever one it is. The stock one from the 400 does not fit, so we got to replace that. It should be arriving today. As soon as I get that back in, we'll go ahead and put that in and do a test fire. Now I will say I've got a oil reservoir from a 2004 Sportsman 500. Had to replace the stock one because it had cracked here on the bottom and leaking oil everywhere. Previous owner had patched it up with some red RTV silicone. So that's not really going to work for me. Of course, had to convert it over with a banjo bolt. I really need to replace that whole hose itself and get rid of the double clamps that I had to use to keep it from leaking. So today we're going to be putting the crankshaft cover back on it, and when that fitting arrives we'll get that on it, get some coolant in it. We'll see how it runs. Got the fuel tank back on it. It's not bolted in, but mostly need to see if we can at least run it. If it doesn't run, I'm just gonna have to tear it back apart. So I guess let's give it a shot, see how it does. If it runs, it runs. Let's check it out. promising. Alright, we are back in the shop with the Polaris. So last night I tried to start up with it. It did not go well. I had the eBay special Magnum 500 carburetor on it, and it seemed that it was either getting too much fuel nonstop or getting too much air. I could not get it to idle. So I went back with the factory-like eBay special 34 millimeter carburetor. So that's what the ATV came with on it. That's what the ATV had on it whenever I first purchased it. So we're going to give that a shot. Started it up last night. It ran. And we drove it around the yard with no major issues. So I'm going to sit you down. Go ahead and get it started. As you can see, it runs still. Sounds like a Polaris. Had that kind of rattle noise with the last engine as well. I've noticed from driving it a little bit and letting it idle that it does idle a little bit rougher. So probably has to do with the counterbalancer on the crankshaft not matching up with this new piston, which I didn't measure it. I should have, but it runs. We'll see how long.